Today we are doing part 2 of our power rankings. This is, I'm doing these every 2 weeks. I'm not doing them every single week. I feel like too much changes in 1 week that you kind of can't really get a good sense of what is going on. You kind of need 2 weeks to see, okay, where have we progressed from then to now. Before we get in this video, though, let me remind you, check out w.gg and use code SHREDDER, SHRD3R, for 10% off your order of anything on their website. They have these 30 serving tubs, and they also have these single serving pouches. So if you don't want to commit to one of these, get you a few of these, try out some flavors, use code SHREDDER for 10% off your order, or click the link in the description of this video. That'll take you right to it. Either way, let's get right into this video. Alright, while we get started, right under me you can see the power rankings from week 2. This is week 4, post week 4 power rankings. Let's get right into this one. So, starting off in our 31-32 tier, the sad life it is for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They moved down to position number 32. It's a drop, a pretty massive drop for them, down 5 spaces. Is it... You know, numerically it's not that high, but like, I mean, in terms of what we thought the Jaguars should be, this is a huge loss for them, down 5 spaces. They've just played bad ball. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's, you know, Jimmy's and Joe's or X's and O's. I'm not sure. It's bad. That's all you can tell them. Number 31 is still the Carolina Panthers. They've played a lot better since Andy Dalton comes in, but here's the thing. They just don't really have a future with Andy Dalton, obviously. He's been around for a long time, and, you know, it'll be a great thing while it lasts, I guess. But they put up a fight against the Bengals. You know, they played good ball. That's what we've seen. Now they're, you know, can figure out the issues around their team and then see if the issue is Bryce Young or not. You know, maybe he was an issue, but now with Andy Dalton playing cleaner ball, they figure out the team issues, re-put Young back out there, and see if, you know, what can change, what they can do better. Why is Young failing at these parts and those parts? Either way, that's our tier for the bottom two of the cat teams in the NFL playing really bad football. Number 30, the New York Giants come in with a +1 movement. They get up just 1 spot. Not really good ball from them. They've got to win. That's all you can really say about them. You know, Daniel Jones. Yeah, that's it. Then, the next team, a new one, the Miami Dolphins, moving to 29. Mainly, yes, Tua has really hurt them. He has, you know, caused them to fall a lot. But, hey, there aren't really excuses here. Every team has injuries, and even with Tua, they weren't really looking very good. Now, without Tua, they look really bad. So, yeah, Tyler Huntley wasn't able to do anything. Former Pro Bowl quarterback, for whatever that's worth, right? Yeah, minus 10 spots for the Dolphins. It's not a pretty sight in Miami right now. The New England Patriots are going to come in next. It is a -2 movement for them. Honestly, not so much of they have been any worse than I expected. It's more of there's just been some teams that have pushed them down. Teams that have, you know, kind of climbed the power rankings from last week, as you can see down below me. You know, -2, but hey, they're fine. I mean, we don't really expect much from the Patriots this year anyways, especially as long as Jacoby Brissett plays. Once he stops playing, you know, we expect to see at least some interesting football from Drake May. I can say that much. But that's about it. Moving on to number 27. This one is going to be a team who just got their first win. The Tennessee Titans just last night got their very first win on the season, if this will ever move, beating the Miami Dolphins, in fact. +1. Mason Rudolph played some good ball last night. It was good to see him throwing some dots. Some passes were caught that should have, or some drop that should have been caught. But hey, Mason Rudolph is a solid player in the NFL. He has proved that. At this point, I don't know how you can say he's at least not a spot starter in the league. If not, maybe even a very low tier starter. I mean, I wouldn't really, you know, just clamor him on my team just saying like, yes, he's our future, but at the same time, he's definitely not a guy you're concerned about if he's the one who's playing. He'll do the job fine. Titans move up 1 spot. After that, the Denver Broncos, they get themselves out of a little bit of a hole after beating a couple teams. They're +4. That's a really solid thing. You know, they figured out something. They've got something working for themselves. Bo Nix looks okay. You know, not great. I mean, they beat the Jets without him, really, despite him, I guess. But hey, he's not killing them entirely. I understand he had negative yards in the first half, and that's impressive. Either way, yeah, I mean, you know, the Broncos, they've won games. That's what matters in the league. They've been able to get the W on the left side of the column. That's all that matters. We're going to rapid fire two teams here. First off, the Raiders. Second off, the Rams. Rams have won one game. Raiders have won two. Raiders have beat some pretty solid teams, but let's just be real. With Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell or whoever they're playing, right now it is Gardner Minshew. There's just not a lot of hope for them. They're about to probably trade Devontae Adams. Antonio Pierce was just caught liking a post saying that he's played his last snap as a Raider, and Devontae was on a show with Kay Adams saying that, he's only controlling where he goes next and stuff like this, and just it looks bad for the Raiders. They're just not a great team. They just really aren't. They may finish with a 8-9 win season, but that will be an overachievement, and that's kind of where they're at. This is kind of our neutral zone of this list. The Rams have been very disappointing at this point. They're 1-3, a very bad loss to the Cardinals in division. Yes, they are decimated with the injuries, but you've got to win some games at some point, man, especially with Matthew Stafford. Sean McVay, you've got to do better than you're doing. I'm kind of disappointed in the Rams, to be quite honest. Moving on from there, the Cleveland Browns, massive fall, falling 5 spaces. They get a good game from Deshaun Watson on Sunday, and they still suck. The Browns are the Browns. What can you say? There's no need to even consider them elsewhere. The Bears move up 1 spot, getting to the, number 22 spot, I believe. And, hey, they've kind of looked like they figured some stuff out. They may be getting to a point where the offense is settling down, realizing what they can do. Caleb is settling down exactly as I predicted. He was going to open up the season, a little shaky. Going to open up the season, and he's going to be a rookie, but then he's going to settle in. He's going to figure it out. He's going to start making plays here soon. Keenan Allen's supposed to be back this week. This could be a big turning point for them, getting a really reliable receiver like Keenan Allen back, and yet another guy the defense has to worry about. They do have a plethora of weapons between Moore, Allen, Odunze, Kmet, Swift, Rashawn Johnson, all these other things. Just a lot of weapons here. There's some upside in the future, I think. The Bears at 22. The Jets fall down, a whopping 4 spaces for now being the 21st spot. They played really, really bad against the Broncos. I'm not really sure what happened there, but it was embarrassing. You can't lose to the Broncos for one, and two, if you're going to lose to the Broncos, at least be letting them score 30 points and you're scoring 28. Make it look like you tried. That was bad. That was really, really, really bad. At number 20, our biggest faller of the weeks comes here. The Philadelphia Eagles. They do not look good. They have not won a game or back-to-back games since the early part of last season or early mid last season. They're every last 9 wins or something they have, or 4 wins they followed with a loss. I think it's 9 weeks, 4 wins, every week's followed by a loss, something like that. I'm not remembering the numbers, but they showed it during the game. You can't have Saquon and A.J. Brown, which did he play on Sunday? I'm not even certain, but you can't even have Saquon and Jalen Hurts and the O-line they have and the personnel they have and be that inconsistent. You have to be better than that. It's just embarrassing how bad Philly's been. I've tried to give Philly their flowers, but at this point, it may be Sirianni. He's got about 2 more weeks to figure it out, or Belichick's getting hired this offseason. Anyways, moving on. They go down 14 spots, our biggest faller, as I said. Moving on from the Eagles, we have a team moving up plus 2 spots. The Cardinals go up just a little bit. Play decent ball. They figured things out. Marvin Harrison's opening it up, being the prospect he was expected to be. Looks like they'll be fine. They're not the most talented team, and they're gonna probably finish around 9 wins at best. And it is what it is. They'll be what they are. They're not super special, but hey, they're playing the better side of the ball that they haven't been. The Cincinnati Bengals 1-3. They finally get their first win versus Carolina. Didn't really look good versus Carolina. The offense did. The defense did not. Yikes, man. Bengals are in a bad spot here. This is probably their last year with Chase, Higgins, and Burrow together. And the playing bad part, that's just going to run them off even further. This may be their last year with any 2 of them combined. You don't know. This is not looking good right now for Cincinnati, and their defense is horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous. You can't allow the Carolina Panthers to put up 28 points or whatever it was. That's embarrassing, man. That can't happen. You're supposed to be a contender. And even your quarterback saying that he's not even concerned about the playoffs. I understand his message is, hey, we have to win games before we can do that. But, geez, man, this is embarrassing if you're a Bengals fan, to be quite honest with you. The Colts move up plus 5. They're into a decent spot now. Playing better ball. Had a big win versus Pittsburgh that, honestly, they were able to make, the Steelers defense look really, really just crappy. They were able to get away with a ton of holds on offense. TJ Watt was literally held every single game. Braden Smith, you're a solid tackle. I know that, but golly, like they just weren't even looking at you all game. You were able to do whatever you wanted. I mean, grabbing him wherever and just throwing him around like he was nothing. Just bad officiating in that game for sure. But either way, beyond that, they got the win. And there's reason for that. They were up 17-0. The offense looked good. They lost Anthony Richardson, and Joe Flacco came in and kept up. So, they almost blew it, but they didn't. They got the win. They move up a few spots. And more of this is a lot of teams moving down than them moving up, but either way. Moving there. We'll go to our biggest riser this week, and that is the Commanders. And they're going to be at 16, right in the middle of the pack. And you might think they should be higher. To me, they have a really solid rushing offense. Okay. Their passing offense is middle of the pack at best. Their defense is middle of the pack at best. They put up some big numbers in 2 games versus some, meddling competition, the Cardinals and, whoever else it was. They beat the Bengals, when the Bengals were really suffering. But they're not amazing. I mean, to the Cam Taylor-Britt comments of college offense, I mean, as hateful as that is, he's not entirely wrong. I mean, it's a lot of checkdowns, it's a lot of screens getting you for yak, but hey, they're doing it well, so give them flowers. They move up 13 spots. I mean, I'm not going to jump them up to top 5 after just a couple weeks. They're going to have to progressively get there. But hey, this is a good start for sure to the season for the Commanders. Something that, hey, I was not predicting that one. They were a team I expected to be pretty bad this year. And who's to say they aren't? Who's to say they aren't on a couple-week heater and it falls off this week? We don't know. Either way, we'll see as the season progresses. After the Commanders, we'll go into this next tier. Number 15, the Atlanta Falcons, wherever they may be. They move up 5 spots. Really solid for them. They've been able to, they lost their first couple games, but they were to the Steelers, the Chiefs, these solid teams. And now they're able to play some, teams that aren't just really good teams. And, they're beating them, but they should be. That's okay. That's fine. They're beating teams they should be beating, and that's okay. They beat the Saints in a divisional game on a last-second field goal. That's a good thing. Keep chomping at the bits, and Kirk Cousins looking better by the week, so keep moving. Seahawks move up +1. They're in a decent spot now, moving into number 14. They're 3-1, but honestly, not really a convincing 3-1. They played 3 really bad teams to begin the season, pretty much, and didn't win all those games super convincingly. They played the Lions convincingly, but I think there's more of a kind of a rivalry there than anything else. They were both playing up on a primetime game. The Lions played incredibly well, but Seahawks kept up with them. But hey, the Seahawks, I just don't have a lot of faith in them. We'll see, and they'll continually slowly move up until they really prove something more or less. After Seattle, the Chargers, they're going up +1 as well. They had a tough loss to Pittsburgh, and a tough loss this week, but honestly, I think they're fine. I think they're just in a funk right now. I have a lot of trust for the Chargers. I trust their quarterback. I trust the coach. 2 things that Seattle doesn't really have trust right now with yet, So I think the Chargers they'll be fine. They're in a funk, but they'll be fine all long term. Then the Packers. They get 2 weeks of Malik Willis and 2-0 Ball. Oh, man, my Malik Willis takes are looking better by the week. Jordan Love can't even win him a game, but Willis can. I love, I just love it. Malik Willis was my guy in that 2022 draft, whatever it was, and I thought he was going to be the best of the quarterbacks in that class, and, well, he's proven it right now, so there you go. Love to see it. After that, Pittsburgh comes in at 11, -2. Their defense is legit. They had a bad week versus Indy, but they have a big test versus Dallas this week to prove a lot. I don't think they're going to really be capable of being top 10 again as long as Fields plays like he is. He's a game manager. He's a glorified game manager. His numbers were a lot bigger against Indy because they were down 17 points and had to start throwing the ball a lot. But ultimately, Fields has not been amazing. He's been fine. He's been, he's done his job. I think he's a backup at this point. I really do. I think, there's a reason they had Russ as the number 1 quarterback coming into the season. And when Russ was still hurt at the start of the season, they're playing the backup, and I assume they'll probably play the starter when the starter comes back. But yeah, that's what it is. The Cowboys will move up +1 to crack into the top 10. They're starting to put their ball together. Had a really rough loss to Baltimore, but other than that, they're fine. It was a rough game. They played well. They fought, but all for naught. They lost that one. And this week, got to win. It's what it is. Dallas, they're top 10. They are. They're just a top 10 team. Moving to the next, the Saints. They're going down -5. They're hanging on to the top 10 by a thread here. They, had 2 really, really hot weeks and 2 not so hot weeks. They only lost by a last-second 58-yard field goal, though, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt this time. However, these next 2 weeks could plummet them down around this range. It could be really bad if they don't, fix their mistakes very quickly. Then the Baltimore Ravens will move up 4 spots. They've had some bad losses, but they're kind of getting back on track. They're 2-2 now, getting back to where they need to. A big win versus Buffalo in a primetime game. They look good, but hey, they have some bad losses too. We gotta see where this lines out to and see how good they are as they continue their season. Then after the Ravens, the Texans move up +1. They're winning games. They're playing fine ball. It is what it is. They're doing okay. They tough game with the Jaguars this week. Came down to the wire. They were able to get it done. But hey, that one's one you gotta be a little better than that when they're the 32nd overall team at this point. Then after the Texans, the Niners, they're moving down 3. Yeah, they've gotten some wins here and there, but the injuries and all the things considered, they're looking a little rough. They're 6 right now. I think we've got a lot to see from them. They played a really good game this week and beat up on a not so great team. So I just don't know how to think about that really. I'm gonna wait and see what they can do after this game mainly before I shoot them in the top 5 or maintain them. A lot of teams this week have really secured their case in the top 5. That's where we're gonna see next. And with that said, the Lions move up to number 5. They're moving up 2 spaces. Really solid. Really solid. They played some good teams, won some good games. They lost a bad one, but hey, I think the Lions are legit, and at this point, I think they deserve to be over the Niners because of simply the record and the wins and the health they have. After that, the Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield's killing it, man. They're 3-1, playing a lot of good ball. He's like 3rd in passing yards. You got to give him credit where credit's due. I think they deserve this spot right here for sure. Then the Bills are number 3. They moved down -2 because of the loss to Baltimore. But before Baltimore, they were very dominant. Very, very, very dominant. They lost a game where they got 200 yards rushing put on them. Derrick Henry had, really demoralized them with that early, 70-yard touchdown he ran in. I think that from that point on, the game was basically over. I'm not really concerned about that Buffalo Bills loss because, it was just kind of an off night. They were all off. The team played just not great, but we've seen them be very dominant 3 games before that. So I think I'll trust Josh Allen and the Bills here on this one. For now, we'll say. And then the Kansas City Chiefs go down. They're actually staying in the same spot. They go, they're fine. They're the Chiefs. They're 4-0. It is what it is. They're the Chiefs. They make things look harder than it has to be, but they win. That's what matters. Until Mahomes takes out his own teammate. Yikes. That might be karma, though. I don't know. Anyways, the Vikings are your number 1 team right now. Beyond me. They're +9 right now. I wasn't too faithful in them in the first 2 weeks, but hey, they've proved it. They really, truly have proved it, and I'm impressed. I can't say I'm not. So, they've played a lot of good ball, beaten some teams they should not have, like the Niners last week. A lot of good things from them. Sam Darnold's really proven himself. He's playing tough. He's playing good football. It's really encouraging to see Sam Darnold do this. It's really cool to see as well. So let me know what you think about these power rankings. Let me know how you think they have developed so far. Who's up, who's down, in your opinion. Either way, thank y'all for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one.